You're only as good as your biggest mistake. That's a lesson that I've seen time and time again in the online space. And if you think about different situations you've read or heard about, you'd realize it's probably true. Like with the Watcher YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago, the guys who wanted to paywall all their content, more people probably know about them for that fuck up than for the YouTube content they were making for years. It's no different for like YouTuber apologies. Usually you hear about that more than the actual YouTube videos they were making. And also for companies, the same situation holds true. It's also no different for me. I made a Mogul mail a week ago, and it was my most disliked Mogul mail yet. Now, you don't have to go watch it. I'll recap it for you. Feel free to if you want. I'm not going to take it down. But basically, I made a video about a Twitch screw-up. They had a payment service that unsubscribed thousands of viewers from streamers, I should say, that they like to watch. And I came in from the perspective of a streamer with friends who were impacted by this, other streamers. And I thought, well, this sucks. They're going to lose out on thousands of dollars. It seems really unfair. And then people in the comments pushed back and they said, well, Ludwig, they're losing thousands of dollars, but the viewers who are paying those thousands of dollars are getting them back. And if they truly cared, they would resubscribe. They are not owed that money. And although maybe it sucks for those streamers, ultimately the viewers getting some money back is not a problem. And I think that ultimately is right. I'm coming from the POV, again, of a streamer, of a guy who's friends with the streamers who are affected. And these streamers who are affected aren't millionaires, but ultimately it is not necessarily like they are owed the subscription. And they will have to fight for it back. It'd be better if it never happened at all. And I understand I am alone in that I subscribe to a fuck ton of people that I don't necessarily watch all the time. I just like supporting them, and I have that extra cash to do it. So I get it. That was a fuck up. And I think it's so much more impressive how people respond to fuck ups than necessarily like not fucking up at all, because that's kind of a hard ask to do. People fuck up. It happens. And we have a situation today where an amazing company who made an amazing game had a fuck up. And they're about as big as their biggest fuck up. Lol, goodbye, Helldivers, types Iron Mouse. And they, if you haven't seen today, got review bombed to hell. 36,000 negative reviews added for Helldivers 2 today. 10% of all reviews since release. Now, why are they getting review bombed? Well, it's because of a change they made to their terms of service in a way. Basically, if you are someone who's played Helldivers 2, you now need to link your PlayStation account, even if you are not playing on PlayStation, even if you're playing on Steam, on PC, like I do. Now, if you don't know the game Helldivers 2, it's a fucking godlike game. There's no other way to put it. It's like one of the best games that has come out in the past year, at least as far as like PvE games. There's no PvP aspect to it, but the PvE it's amazing. The only game I can think of off top that's as good PvE is like Left 4 Dead. It truly is like a rewarding experience. You can play with like a group of 4. I play with my friends. I've put like about 10 hours into the game, and I have a blast. I am dog shit at it, but I have a blast spreading democracy. And in the year of games that we've had where there's so many fucking good video games, this one, to me, shines at the top of that list. However, people are not happy with this new account linking update. People like Pirate Software, who said, not happening. I'm removing access from Steam players, unless they have a PSN account, and link it months after the release is absurd. Review changed to negative, and I have filed for a refund. And Pirate Software, we don't know, has probably put about 300 hours into this game, so he's not saying this lightly. Now, to the defense of Helldivers 2, this was on their Steam page since their launch 3 months ago. This is actually my screenshot. It says right here, requires third-party account, PlayStation Network, supports linking to Steam account. That was on the page since the release. However, they did not enforce it. Basically like jaywalking. They said you kind of got to do it, but they never got anybody in trouble for not doing it. You could just play it with only a Steam account. And if you go to the FAQ on PlayStation's own website, they would say signing into PSN is optional when playing a PlayStation game on PC. They have since changed this FAQ when they made this update today, and that's why people are not happy. Here's another page where it says, do I need a PSN account to play PlayStation games on PC? No, you do not, currently. Now, they have changed this policy, and they're now saying you got to do it with certain games, including Helldivers 2, which has millions and millions of players. And many people might think like this community manager for Helldivers 2. It's not like this is the first or even the 14th mainstream game to require a third-party account. That takes a couple of minutes to create. But if it's a deal breaker, to take 120 seconds out of your day to enter in an email and a password, then forget about it, change your Steam review, and make your displeasure known on a platform where it matters. Okay, that's what they say. maybe a little bit snippy, but people are bringing up really valid arguments in reply. For example, Sony is not the best company when it comes to keeping your data safe. They get breached about every couple of years. Sony confirms data breach impacting thousands in the US. So I can see why people wouldn't want willingly to give their information to Sony, especially when they could play the game for months without having had to have done that in the past. Like, why do you have to do it now? I don't want to give you my data. But it gets even worse. Because if you Google how many countries are actually available for PSN, the answer is 69. Nice. But there are a lot more countries than 69. These are the current available countries where you can make a PlayStation account. Missing from this list is basically every single country in Africa, with the exception of South Africa, the Baltic nations, all right, our Lithuanias, our Latvias, some of the Stan countries, Kazakhstan. There's a lot of users who play this game who cannot make a PlayStation account, thus cannot play the game legally. Now, you might think, well, how about you just make up an account? But if you look at PlayStation's own rules, they say, well, hey, you have to make an account in the country that you reside in. That's the rule here. And if you don't, we may request identifying documents to prove that you were in that country. And if we suspect that you are not following our terms of service, we might remove or compromise your account. We might ban it altogether. You might lose access to be able to play the game that you paid for altogether. So basically, the only way for a lot of the user base to play the game is if they break the rules that Sony laid out, which is a little bit fucking dumb to me, to have to risk a ban. And they don't enforce that currently, but they also didn't enforce the you have to link a PlayStation account either. Do we really want to risk having to break another rule that Sony might enforce later on? I mean, certain countries like the UK are already implementing verification through ID or facial scan. Now, this is based off UK rules, but what if that country is one that doesn't allow you to make a PlayStation account? There could be some problems here. And this ultimately comes from Sony, who is the publisher in this situation, not the developers of the game. And this is the CEO, Pilestad, part of Arrowhead, the CEO of the company, actually, who said, ouch, right in the review score. Well, I guess it's warranted. Sorry, everyone, for how this all transpired. I hope we'll make it up and regain the trust by providing a great game experience. I just want to make great games. And I feel for this guy because ultimately they are just the dev. And I say just the dev. They're an amazing dev studio. They made an amazing game. But the publisher is making the calls here. And Sony, the publisher, doesn't give a fuck. They're forcing the hand of their developer to, I don't know, make millions of users link their PlayStation network for what? I don't even know why. I honestly don't even know why. Now, the CEO did reply as far as the concern of people who literally cannot make a PlayStation Network account because Sony does not recognize them on PSN. They said, we're working to discuss a solution for that. But dude, you don't even need to turn on crossplay when you play. This is a screenshot I took from my ship, Song of Family Values. I do believe in strong family values when I spread democracy. You don't need crossplay. You can play it on Steam without playing with PlayStation users, so why the fuck do I need to sign into PlayStation? The answer can only be because Sony sees some value in getting the data of the millions of PC gamers who are not currently linking their PSNs. I don't know what they're trying to do with that data. Maybe get more information for future games or for marketing purposes. I don't know. Look, man, a bunch of people want my fucking data all the time. I can't go on a website without being asked to give you my damn cookies. I don't want to give you my damn cookies, but they ask me every fucking time. But it seems ultimately selfish, and it doesn't seem like it is a value add-on for the players. And this is another lesson in life. If you offer something and then retract it later on, people are just going to get pissed the fuck off. They just are. And it makes a whole lot of sense if you could do something for free without having to give up your data, and then all of a sudden 3 months later, hundreds of hours into the game later, you now have to do it. Although it could be easy for some people, especially if you're in the States. You could just link it quickly. That's why we're fucking American, baby. We don't want to have to do it. We didn't have to do it before. And it's our God-given right to complain about that thing happening. Now, we'll see how it shakes down. But I do hope that Sony, due to some public pressure, makes the right call. And I'm curious to see how they'll act. Again, we said at the start of this video, you're about as good as your biggest mistake. I would like to change that. You're about as good as how you respond to your biggest mistake. And I hope they respond well by holding true to how they enforce things in the first 3 months of the game cycle. Anyway, that's the Helldivers 2 drama. That's all I got for you now. There's many other great games out there if you guys want to check them out. If you're a Helldivers 2 enjoyer like Balatro, check out Balatro. I'm a Balatro enjoyer. That's all. See you later. Goodbye. Goodbye. Thanks for watching. Goodbye. See you later. And if you were mad at me for my Mogul mail and you never want to watch me again, I get it. I get it. We all make mistakes. Hey, sometimes I'm out of touch. That's how it goes. All right. See you later. Goodbye.